Hey, good morning, world. How y'all doing out there today? I'm Marcus L. Lewis, and I'm coming to you to continue my life story, my life journey, my rags to riches story, wherein I just want to inspire someone, just to motivate and to encourage someone to dream big. If you're not going to dream big, why even dream at all? As a matter of fact, learn to think big. Because I believe by simply thinking big, you have the potential of living a big life. There was an author by the name of David Schultz. I think I'm saying his name correctly, David Schultz. And so when David wrote the book, The Magic of Thinking Big, I believe he was onto something. Because as I told you previously, that nothing can be manifested until you think about it first. So why not just think big? Imagine big. And you know, the old adage is, if you shoot for the moon and just so happen not to hit the moon, at least you land amongst the stars. But sometimes, you just have to take a chance, take a risk, because the greater the risk, the greater the reward. But many of us get so complacent with where we are, and we don't want to lose what we have. So guess what? We stay still and just hold on to what we got and never maximize our potential in life, because we're just satisfied. It appears as though you have arrived, you have reached your mark, reached your goal. But I believe there's so much more on the inside of you. And you never know if you don't try. Just take that step, that leap of faith, if you will. How would you know if something would work or not if you never try it? I would rather take the leap. I would rather try than fail, rather than never try at all. Because the whole adage is, it goes something like this: nothing beats a try but a failure. At least I would rather try. So at least I can say, well, you know what? I tried. Rather than having this, never experiencing that in life and walking through life, not knowing wherein the very thing that you want to do, whether you would succeed at it or not, but you were too afraid to even try. Try. Get out of the boat. There's one a passage of scripture that comes to mind when Peter saw Jesus walking on the water. And he asked the question, Lord, if it be you, bid me to come. So Jesus bidded Peter to come, and Peter was walking on the water. As long as Peter stayed focused, he was able to walk on the water. But when the scripture says that the winds got tumultuous and the waves begin to start to sway the water, Peter lost focus and began to sink. But the moral of that particular story is this: at least Peter got out of the boat. At least Peter was able to walk on the water. Peter was able to say what the other disciples who stayed in the boat were never able to say. He was able to say, you know what? At least I tried. He was able to say, you know what? At least I made an attempt. Not only did I make an attempt, I did it. So he was able to say something that they would never be able to say. He did it. Why? Because he made the attempt. He took the walk of faith in that particular case. So I want to encourage you today, as you're dreaming big, thinking big, grappling within yourself, rather not to take that leap because you can't see what's before you. Make the decision. And once you make the decision, you have to commit to the decision that you have made. So make the decision. And so that leads me to our segment on today, wherein my wife and I had to make a decision. We made a decision. And the decision was this. I remember very distinctively, very vividly, she and I was laying in the bed one particular night around about 2011, somewhere there's about, as we were grappling with what was going on in the market, in the housing market. The bubble had burst and sort of leveled out at this particular time. And so I asked a question. I said, babe, let me ask you a question. Of course, she says, yes, ask me the question. I said, will you be willing to believe God with me for something better? She said, yes. That's all I needed to hear was a yes. Why? Because at that particular point, we were walking in agreement. And there's power in agreement. She and I walked in agreement. And we had to make a decision. And so the decision was that we sell the house that we were in. And that time came around early, maybe January 2012. Called the real estate agent. She came by, did the walkthrough, and how some agents do, they recommend you to upgrade this and do that. And sometimes your home is just, after it's been lived in for a while, just ready to sell because you kept it up like that. So we did a few minor improvements to the home, and we listed it on the market. And at this particular time, the house sold so fast. It was the first or either the second person that visited the home. The home sold in about 22 days. 22 days in the month of January. So we were scrambling because we had no idea it would sell so fast. And we were wondering within ourselves, once this house sells, where do we go from here? Of course, we had looked at several properties, but we had no idea that the property would sell in 22 days. So we're wondering, where do we go from here? And so I told my wife, I said, well, let me call my brother-in-law and ask them, can we reside there for a little bit until we can kind of figure out, where we're going to navigate the ship from here? But we made the decision to sell the house. We took a leap of faith, not knowing exactly where we were going to go because we had no idea that the house would sell as fast as it did. So after speaking to my brother-in-law and, he consulted with his wife, and which is the right thing to do. And so they agreed that my family and I can go and reside with them. I think we stayed about 2 months, if my memory serves me correctly. In the January, we sold the house, stayed with them. February and the latter part of March. So about 2 solid months. And so we had put all of our furniture in storage and looking at houses, places to go. There's one particular property that we thought we were going to be able to get, but it was a new development in a new community that was up and coming at that particular time. I'm talking to the builder, and that opportunity didn't go through. So, wow, where do we go from here? So we decided to go to a luxury apartment complex. It was just newly renovated. It was like, 5-star. So we went to this place. We rented there for about a year, somewhere there is about. But the fact of the matter still remains is that my wife and I were in total agreement in something better. Even though this nice luxury apartment was top scale, this wasn't the better that we were talking about. This wasn't the better that she and I was agreeing upon. Because even though it was luxury, it was a step down from where we had come from. And so, standing there, still devising, our plan to continue to have our goal before us and sort of outlined in our mind what we really wanted, the better that she and I had agreed upon. One thing we did know, that particular spot, that situation wasn't it. It wasn't it. And so we endured that situation. And we grew in that particular situation Because let me let you in on a little tidbit. You never know how you will respond to certain situations until you're faced with them. Again, you never know how you will respond to certain situations until you're faced with them. And I learned from Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor, he was my online mentor. As a matter of fact, Bob died about a week ago. But Bob was my online mentor. He had written a book entitled You Were Born Rich. And in that book, it was a chapter talks about the law of vacuum. Vacuum simply means that you have to remove something to make room for something else. And so by us selling the house, we had to make room for something else, for something better, for something bigger, for something greater. And where we were at that particular time wasn't it. But I learned from that book, when you want something in life, you want something greater, you want something bigger, you want something better, you have to remove what you have so you can make room for the very thing that you believe in God for. So I want to encourage you on today to continue to think big. If you're not going to dream big or think big, don't dream at all. Share the video. Follow the Rag to Riches page. So when somebody else, when you share the video, would be encouraged, will be enlightened. And I just want to inspire somebody that you can do it. Yes, you can. So be encouraged, and God bless you until we meet again.